Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. I have a follow-up on the trim router that I purchased on Amazon for 50 bucks. I was going to do this video on the other channel, like a review, and I probably will. I'll probably do like a concise review of what you're going to get if you buy a $50 router on Amazon. And when I do that, it will go on the Chevee channel. But I know quite a few of you were questioning this purchase, so I thought I'd do a follow-up, and some of the fears are valid. I was really hoping to use this router, this particular router, the one that I purchased, with a 3/32 pointed roundover, I guess is what it's called. Basically a beadboarding bit. My goal was to have this router set up permanently as a quick and easy way to make beadboard. I'm going to make a jig, a simple T-square kind of jig that has holes cut in it that this router would slot into, and then cut, and then cut, and then cut, and then when you're done you have a beadboard. That was the plan. It will not work with this particular router. It could. I could make it work. The problem is the base plate does not support standard bushings. If you've ever used, I have a set of PowerTech router bushings. These are simple little like brass inserts that are supposed to fit your base plate, and then you have a screw that goes on the back. This base plate does not have support for these. Neither does my current router. My current router, I had to 3D print a new base plate with a bushing mount in it. I could do this for this router, but I don't want to. I don't want to because I was hoping that I could make it kind of a universal. I would have this router be quickly and easily set up for cutting either the beadboard or doing like a shallow dado, like 1/4-inch dados, because I would also like to kind of sort of imitate shiplap that way. And it becomes a pain if I have to make, or anyway, the point is I'm going to buy a better router for that, for the beadboarding. But I will say, for doing roundovers, this is perfect. It actually is great. This sleeve does not move at all. I've got it tightened down pretty tight, not worried about it slipping. The router does get warm. That's one of the comments that I saw. It gets pretty hot. I'm not going to disagree with that comment. It does get pretty darn hot. But it doesn't seem to affect the performance at all. I've used it I used it on a project this weekend and cut a whole bunch of roundovers, and it worked great. And so my plan for this router currently is to just, this is the roundover router. I have a 1/4-inch roundover bit in here. It'll stay in here forever, and all this will be used for is roundovers. That was the secondary reason that I wanted one of these. I wanted one to keep a roundover bit in, I want one to keep a chamfering bit in, and I want one to keep a patterning bit in. And so my initial thought when I decided to do this crazy thing was to buy a bunch of these and just keep those bits installed at all the time, and I could just quickly, you know, oh, need the roundover one, done. It will work for that. I also, in my attempt to try to make a beadboard, which I will try to find the piece of wood that I attempted to do it on and show it to you. I tried to use the edge guide that comes with this, and it is complete garbage. It is like literally open the box and just throw it away. When I do the review, I'll talk more about it, but basically it's just really thin sheet metal that bends super easy. Like if you put any inward pressure on it, it just flexes, which completely destroys the point of having an edge guide. The point is that you can push it up against your workpiece and make your cut, and it doesn't do this as you're going through the work. It also, the hole that's threaded in this piece is only threaded about maybe a 1/4-inch deep at the most, and then the rest of the hole was not threaded. So the knob they give you, the shaft on the knob is about 1 inch long. It would not go in here. I had to drill the hole out and really force that knob in here. That part is complete garbage. But I'm not disappointed. For 50 bucks, I got what I wanted. I got a roundover machine. which I think is a decent deal. Like, I could have spent the $100 and bought the Makita. The Makita has a better depth adjust. The Makita has a much more robust depthing system. The Makita has a much better edge guide. The Makita probably, I don't know this for a fact because I can't find information on it, will probably accept standard router bushings. It would have been a more universal tool, but for a dedicated tool that only gets used for roundovers, I'm happy with this. For $50, it's throw it away, I'm good with it, right? I don't have to have an expensive router for all of those little profiling bits that I want to use. The other one is I want a chamfering bit, and then I want one for an OG. I have like a normal OG that I like to use on some things. But it's one of those tools that when I want to do a round over, I'm in the middle of a project and I'm like, oh, I should round these edges over. To go get a router, take the base plate off, change the bit, put the bit back on, set the depth of the base plate, try to get it perfect, make a test cut, nope, adjust again. I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to be able to grab this thing and do it. Go. So as of right now, it's perfectly set up. I don't have to worry about it. I'm ready to roll. And for $50, I think that's a good deal. I think it's a good investment. And so I probably will buy more. I would like to have at least, in reality, I think I really only need, or I don't need any more, but I would like to have one more. The chamfering bit would be the other one. The other things, like the OG is such a seriously infrequent thing. I could always set up one of my other routers for that. Because I do keep my other routers, I change bits on those because they're for the kind of random things that I want to do with them. So anyway, I think it's decent for $50. If you're just going to keep these pieces, this thing and throw everything else away, including the 2 wrenches that come with it. The 2 wrenches that come with it are completely useless. They will cut your hands before you're capable of tightening enough on the collet to get your bit set. This is, by the way, if you were to purchase one of these, it is a 10mm wrench to hold the shaft and a 17mm wrench for the nut. So, I have those, just use wrenches instead, and it works out perfect. All in all, like I said, I'll probably buy another one. I'd like to have one more. And then after that, I might look at getting the Makita. Actually, I might look at getting the Makita next. Just because I want to see if the Makita will take the bushings. I also want to test, the trueness of this bit versus the base plate is not great. It is off. It's you're not going to be able to see it on camera, but it leans a decent amount. There's not a lot of wobble, surprisingly. If I turn it on, I can stare at the screw tip of this bit and it doesn't move at all. So, but it is slightly askew versus the base. I could probably adjust it by shimming inside of here with tape or paper, but for a roundover, I don't really care that much. I basically never hit a roundover and then don't sand it afterwards, so it's okay if it's slightly off. That's what I have for you today. If you have any other questions about the $50 router, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is euphony. It is a noun meaning the habit of changing the pronunciation of words or the wording of phrases so they are pleasing to the ear and roll off the tongue with greater ease. In finishing school, Alsace learned the art of euphony, and she has parlayed into that hobby of earning roles in television commercials. Euphony. E-U-P-H-O-N-Y. I actually didn't want an example sentence with the word in it. I wanted an example sentence of euphony because I still don't really quite get it.